Jennifer Keogh is a life coach and author who combines personal experience with professional expertise to guide women through life's challenges. After overcoming personal adversity and chronic illness, she's dedicated her life to helping others find their path to healing and self-discovery. Today, she'll be talking about her book, How to Heal from Toxic Relationships. She's written that to be of service to anyone who needs help. She's written that to be of service to anyone who needs help to escape from a relationship they feel trapped within that is likely doing them more harm than good. Please welcome to the State Library of New South Wales, Jennifer Keogh.
Thank you, everybody. It's really lovely to be here. Okay. 5 years ago, I never could have imagined the journey I was about to travel. I could never have imagined becoming an author and a life coach and a budding speaker talking about toxic relationships, healing your heart, rebuilding your life, and celebrating the person you are and the one you are becoming. At the time, I was in a relationship with my best friend. We knew and understood each other so deeply. We had similar childhoods with similar parents, similar business environment, and very similar childhood traumas. Almost a perfect storm, really. The signs were definitely there that things were not going well, and I was great at repressing and hiding the pain that he was replacing me with his buyer's agent, soon-to-be business partner, and very quickly the mother of a child that he never wanted. She was invited into the role that was promised to me. I felt irrelevant, unvalued, unloved, unworthy, and abandoned. All of my greatest childhood fears. And the plan was always to bring me into his business and grow it together. Unfortunately, he decided otherwise and made a series of decisions that led to the ultimate betrayal of any relationship. He cheated on me. And the details of this time of my life shock those who I've shared it with, but there's no need to do that today. So we're focused on the future now. But my best friend changed overnight. It was a case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, except he never returned to Dr. Jekyll, and I hung on desperately waiting for my best friend to return. And I hung on way too long. November 14th, 2019, I was accidentally confronted with the truth in our favourite restaurant as my partner was showing me photos of a business trip to Richard Branson's safari. And it should have been a really exciting moment for us. Although my intuition had been spiking, as somehow we always know, and there it was on his phone. Images and a video of her naked in compromising positions. And it was the most gut-wrenching moment of my life. And it was in that instant I immediately had a very public breakdown. In that millisecond, my whole world changed. It was a before and after moment. One of those moments that you just cannot go back, no matter how much you desperately want it to. And all I could hear was my heart beating. It was so loud in my ears. I didn't know where to look except for my hands, and they were shaking so much I couldn't grasp my next breath. It was as if the whole world froze, except for me sitting there, shaking, in shock, trying to process what had just happened and what it meant. And my brain broke at that moment. And if it had never happened to me, I could never comprehend what that feels like or how it could ever be possible. I could barely function for many months afterwards, barely eating or sleeping. but I'd run up hills until I couldn't breathe, because when you're gasping for your next breath, your mind empties, and it was the only escape I had from myself. A few months before this happened, I had become the sole carer of my son, as his father, who I had left 10 years prior, had an accident, resulting in him becoming quadriplegic. Another before and after moment. And my beautiful 8-year-old son's heart was broken. He has Down syndrome, and so this was a lot for him to process and a lot for me to navigate. And we needed my partner more than ever. I needed his support. Instead, he not only abandoned us, but he destroyed me, right when my beautiful boy needed his mummy the most. And through the experience of the following years, I learnt firsthand about trauma, PTSD, CPTSD, and the impacts these things have on your nervous system, therefore your everyday life. I experienced triggers and intrusive thoughts every single day. Thankfully, not so much now. But many times over the last 5 years, being in this mind and body has very much felt like a jail cell. Because triggers are horrible. Your body feels the threat before the thought even enters your mind. It's just the millisecond of difference. And once you feel it in the body, it can be almost impossible to control the thoughts, emotions, and actions that follow. And this is why many people have addictions. And I'm not just talking about alcohol, drugs, or food. Who here could easily waste a whole day or many hours doom scrolling or binge watching TV? So what are you numbing? What are you avoiding feeling? And if this applies to you, it's something to think about, isn't it? One of the world's leading trauma and addiction experts, Dr. Gabor Mate, says, "Don't ask why the addiction, ask why the pain. Because to understand the people's pain, you have to understand their lives." In other words, addiction is a normal response to trauma. They aren't addicts. They're human beings doing what they need to do to cope with immense pain, which is very human and very understandable. And at the time, I found that the books that I picked up to help me were either triggering or too heavy for me to process. In its survival state, my brain was not working, and I needed something simple, future-focused, and practical with a friendly voice. I figured it out on my own, but it took a long while to put all those pieces together. So I decided to write the book that I needed at the start of this chapter. It's kind of a love note to my past self, someone who I have a deep affection and compassion for. I am very protective of her, and she has a space in my heart where I hold her with the safety she so desperately needed and deserved. Writing my book turned out to be a big piece of my healing journey. Not only that, but I feel my pain was not in vain when I think about the people who have read my book and who will read my book and find solace in the fact that during this time I was able to work my way out of debilitating heartbreak, mental health issues, chronic illness, major life transitions, and the after effects of trauma. I want them to feel reassured that they too will get through this and be better for it. Many people who have been through hell and back decide to share their experiences and help others. So as a result, I've joined the Club of Wounded Healers. You see, my passion, mission, and purpose now is to share my experience, learnings, and recovery of trauma with as many people as possible. but in a very natural, compassionate, non-judgmental way. I want to hold space to see and hear those who haven't felt seen or heard before, because I understand what it's like. I want them to know that it's not their fault what happened to them, but it is their responsibility to heal that part of themselves. And that's who I want to be here for. Those overcoming past hurts, rediscovering themselves and rebuilding their lives after the fallout of a major life event. When I started writing this talk, it would have been our 12-year anniversary. And I missed the man he was before everything fell apart. I know he acted out because of his childhood trauma. And it's not an excuse for what he did, not one bit. But it's part of the reason. He was in his pain and he allowed it to lead him. And it's okay to miss what was and still move on to reimagine a life you once could never have imagined. To use it as a springboard to something else. It's the duality and beauty of life. The presence of grief means that there was love, and you can never make yourself wrong for loving. I share this to give you permission to feel whatever you are feeling without judgment, and I gently invite you to feel through it, to feel where it is in your body, quietly sit with it, give it love, give yourself love, allow the emotions, and I promise they'll pass. You'll feel lighter and relief afterwards. But it will take time, so ask for help and support, and you will get through it. As I firmly believe, if we heal our individual traumas, we'll heal the world, and just imagine what a beautiful world that would be. And this is what I'm doing now. Healing my lifelong traumas, overcoming my past hurts, and rebuilding my life in alignment with my heart. I now live in a beautiful little cottage with my son Connor and our cat Ziggy Woo. That's my beautiful boy Connor Price, who is now 14, and our cat Ziggy Woo Stardust. I have my dream car, which I've wanted, a convertible Mercedes, since I was 8. So my inner child has the biggest smile on her face. I've unearthed a new purpose in my life, which I feel was always there. I'm rebuilding a beautiful life in alignment with who I am and the life I want for my beautiful little family. Small but mighty. And for the first time in 50 years, I truly love myself at 50 years old. I am my best friend, and I talk to myself as such. And I truly wish that for everybody, because I really love this version of me. Self-publishing my first book has inspired me to create more, and I plan on producing more products that make a positive impact on women's lives. I also need this as a creative outlet. So I'm designing the life I want now and eventually the life I've always dreamt of. I'll also be coaching and creating a program called The Healed Woman. My purpose is to help as many women as I can navigate a devastating and heartbreaking time in their lives. To catch them as they're falling and give them the safe space to find their feet. To help them let go of and rewrite their past so they can reimagine and rebuild a life that they love, that's in alignment with their heart and their soul. I want to spread the word as far as possible and have an authentic connection with my readers and potential ones. I'm excited to use speaking and events to facilitate this community, and I feel this is where I'm meant to be. It feels where I belong. I believe women are craving connection with our sisterhood, to find other women in a community where they feel embraced just as they are. The beauty of rock bottom or starting over is you can rewrite the past, and you can write the most beautiful story you can imagine for yourself. Then recreate your life intentionally in alignment with who you truly are. And what could be more empowering than that? Thank you.